Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, and again, we're going to be going over another one of those documents that we have. If you'd like to learn more about different types of documents, what's out there, things that you should definitely get launched and scaled before you really jump headfirst into doing more ortho in your practice. Again, these are just templates, things that I've created, designed over the last 16 years in ortho. As always, anything that a patient is going to sign, a consent form, needs to be run by your own in-house legal team. I'm not a lawyer, so these, just because my attorney said it was okay doesn't mean yours is, and I'm in a different state. And things change over time. So this is what I call a congratulations form or removal of braces consent form. Braces could also be aligners, so you'd probably want to have two versions of this: removal of aligners, removals of braces, completion of orthodontic treatment. This is just kind of my standard stock. You can brand it, put your own verbiage in it, make your own modifications. I always recommend that you have patients sign this whenever they finish orthodontic treatment. It's pretty standard to do this because later they can say that they weren't happy, they didn't like the outcome, they didn't consent to being done. And if you don't have a signature, it didn't happen in the court of law. So it's going to end up being very expensive for you. And again, these are all suggestions that I got from my own liability insurance company, which is different because ortho liability insurance, even though as a dentist you can do ortho, the specialists in orthodontic liability informed consent insurance get it. They understand this is a long-term process and this is aesthetically driven, and often orthodontics is an art and there's more than one way to do things. So everyone needs to be happy. So when treatment is done, I strongly recommend that both the parent and the patient sign the form saying that they are happy with the treatment and they understand what retainers are and they understand what their obligations are under your retention program. They understand what the cost is going to be if they lose or break a retainer and what relapse is going to look like and any warranties that may or may not be available. And these are all things that you need to talk about. And we'll be glad to walk through this with you, this document with you, as part of our VIP or concierge program. This comes standard. All the paperwork and forms come standard. We do also sell our draft documents a la carte if you want to do it, but it doesn't come with any of the coaching behind it. So all kinds of things to think about. You're moving into a whole different phase of treatment. We want the patient to be satisfied, we want the parent to be satisfied, and we want the doctor to be satisfied. All three need to be satisfied in order to move on. That doesn't mean that if only the patient and parent are satisfied and the doctor's not and they choose to discontinue, that doesn't mean that you can't discontinue treatment, but that's a completely different form. This is the everyone's satisfied form, and this is the one you sign when everyone's happy. It's to document that everyone is happy and that the parents agreed that they were satisfied with the service that you provided. And basically later, if they come to you and say that they weren't satisfied, well, they said they were. So, and you got them from A to Z and they agreed you got them from A to Z, and they are getting retainers and they understand the value of the retainers and they understand how your retainer and retention phase and program works and what types of warranties are associated with and what the costs are and what their obligations are. Anyways, you get the idea. Pretty much it. That's how this form works. Stay tuned. There's going to be another form, which I call the discontinuance form. Completely same but different. That's for a different situation. And remember, you can always customize this with your own rules, prices. What happens if they don't wear their retainers? What's the cost for a replacement retainer? What's the cost for a pack of replacement retainers? Do you have a retention subscription program? Sometimes you're going to have a retainer menu or retention menu. That's a super smart idea. It's maybe you get them one set with the ortho treatment, upper and lower, of whatever one you recommend. But if they want to pick one that isn't the recommended one or an upgrade, it's going to be an additional fee of X. And that recommended retainer is going to differ depending on where the patient started, what type of compliance the patient has, oral hygiene. So you may not know what that is at the beginning. It's a great idea to open up that conversation with the patient at the beginning, because a lot of times parents come in with a very clearly defined opinion on what type of retention they're expecting or what they're expecting from the retention program. Also, if you're going to charge separately, a lot of orthodontists generally don't. Orthodontists generally include one set of retainers. But remember, retainers are meant for a lifetime. So one set is not going to last a lifetime. So you need to clearly define how that's going to work, because that is probably, and if you listen to my other blog videos about retention, it is probably one of the top 3 complaints that if you're going to get a bad review from a patient or a parent, it's probably related to retainers, because a lot of times they're expecting something and it's not what you gave them, and it's just because you didn't communicate it well. So that's why this document is super important, and it's always a great idea to talk about it on the front end. One of the biggest things is either that you're giving them Essex or clear retainers, and you only gave them one and they wear out or break, and then you're charging them for more and the teeth moved, and how does that look like? So that's why I always recommend having a subscription program, or contracting with one of these third-party subscription programs. But I mean, it's super easy to build your own in-house one, so it really makes no sense. To my opinion, that's lazy. You might as well get that revenue stream, and it really builds the value of your practice to create that process flow and revenue stream. But if you're lazy, you can outsource. Other thing that upsets parents a lot is they might be expecting a bonded retainer. Now, I'm a big fan of you bond it, you buy it, you marry it. So if you're placing a bonded retainer on a patient, you better be collecting some revenue behind that, because they're going to break, they're going to cause trouble. When the emergencies happen, they're actual emergencies, unlike everything else, and you're going to hate it. As a provider, unless it's worth your while, I would not do it, because the liabilities from bonded retainers are huge unless you pick the right patient and you have the right paperwork. It's really, 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 really pricey. And when it bites you, it's going to bite you. But there's so many patients who come in who parents just think this is the best thing since sliced bread, because they think that it's a compliance thing. Well, there's a lot of risks with bonded retainer too. And unless you have a really, really great patient, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of really great patients out there that will do fine with one, but you need to identify who they are. And remember, you place it, you marry it. So if you place it, patient has perio because of it, the patient has a cavity because of it, it's your butt. So, it's you. You need to build those checks into it. And there's a lot of cool things you can do, especially if you're a general dentist. You can create retainer warranty programs as long as the patient is an active patient in your practice and coming in regularly. That's a great way to retain patients and full families. It doesn't cost the patient anything. Yes, we'll warranty it as long as you're coming in regularly every 6 months. Now, patient transfers to another office, warranty is void. So of course you're going to need to create a document around that too. Patients can opt into that program. They understand how that works. And if they leave your practice or they move and they decide they want that replacement retainers, it's going to be significantly more, 200, 300, 400. But great way to keep recall patients in your office. Fantastic idea. I kind of simulate that or came with that idea based on engagement rings, because when I got mine, they said, we will warranty this engagement ring for life as long as you come in yearly on your anniversary within 30 days of your anniversary to get it checked free. We'll clean it, we'll check it. If any diamonds are loose or missing, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it for life for free. But you have to come in. So what did I do? Every year I came in. For years I came in. Oh, it's my anniversary, I gotta come in within 30 days. And of course you come in, what do? You buy something else, right? I'm already here, I might as well buy something else, Super smart from their standpoint. And then of course, eventually, what did I do? I forgot to come in. So it's not warranted anymore. But luckily, nothing's broken. But just a suggestion. Really great positive ways to keep up patient satisfaction and to take care of your patients and to honor your really valuable patients in your practice. So anyways, that's this document. Any other questions? Give me a buzz. Thanks.